Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. May the Shiur bring bracha tzlacha to the whole of Klal Yisrael. The Shiur is Leilu Nishmas, the people killed, and for the tzlacha of for the Pidyon Shvuim, for the tzlacha for the refuah of Iran ben Flora, and the refuah of Shoshana Malka Bas Al Techanecha. Tzlacha says Tafuma Bas Shoshana Malka. Lilu Nishmas, Menachem Ben Akiva, Lilu Nishmas, Luz Bas Shalom Sol Bas Moshe, Aviva Bas Moshe, Vele Atzlochas Kol Klal Yisrael. Umafdin Oiso Ba'al Korchoi. We are now, as always, in Maseches Kiddushin. This is Baruch on the phone. Umafdin Oiso Ba'al Korchoi. Yudches Amud Aleph. It's the last two dots on the page. Line starts with the word Gnei Vosoi. And then you have two dots, and that's it. Let's go. Yeah, let's be mischazik in Torah. Umafdin oiso ba'al kochoi. We said that one of the differences between a male slave and a female ama is what? That by the woman, mafdin oiso ba'al kochoi. Yeah, in other words, it sounds like the woman slave can be nifdeh, can be redeemed against the will of her owner, while the male slave is not. So it sounds like, because with a girl, it says vehefdo. Okay, that is the assumption, as we're going to see right now by Rove. Sova Rove Lemema. Rove wanted to say, Bal kolche de odoin, right? Rove wanted to say, as I just told you, if the master of the girl is now forced to do that, we're sorry, you're forced to do what? To help redeem her, to be the partner, willingly or not, in the deal, that if somebody comes to a relative, gives her money and says, now this is your money, you're going to pay for yourself back, you're going to buy yourself out of the slavery. Let's say you bought her for 6 million, there are 2 years left, give 2 million to the Odon and get him out of there. Then the Odon is forced to, he can't say, I just want to keep the Shifcha because I want to. No, he has to accept the money and let her go free. Okay, that's what I would have said, but there's a problem here. Omar Abaye is now questioning Rove. Mainihu, what are you talking about? In other words, there's a hidden question here asked by the Ritva before we continue. Yeah, Kivanti. The Ritva says as follows. Obviously, that cannot be true. Why? Because this mechanism of making the Odon free the person is also true by male. We're trying to compare male and female. Yeah, but male also. We said a few times, several times, that if the Odon has to be Messiah, the Odin has to also help the redeeming, the redemption, the redeeming by doing what? By agreeing. Even if he doesn't agree, he has to agree. Yeah, he has to follow along. So therefore, what is that extra thing by a girl more than by a boy that the Odin is forced? Must be something more than just the regular forcing, such as what? Suggests Abaye, the Katavan Leshtoro Adomi. Let's say the girl, she writes him, or her father, they write him a shtar. Adomeho, not dome. Let's say the girl is worth how much now? 2 million out of 6, 4 she already worked. Let's say she writes him a shtar, like in modern world, 2 million shekel check, and she gives it to him, and he doesn't know whether the check will be covered or not. And we still say, by a male, you can't be forced to accept the check. And by a female, you are forced to accept the check. Oh, maybe that's the advantage of a female. You can force him more than by male to accept the shtar. Says Abaye, that doesn't make sense. Amai, why is that? Why should that make sense? Nakit Marganisa Beyodei is holding a diamond or pearl in his hands. Yahivna Lechaspa, and we give him just a piece of clay. In other words, who wants to accept checks? Who wants to accept checks? In other words, he has something real in his hands, and that is a girl who is washing the dishes and changing the diapers of the babies and also the nappies. And she does everything else, right? And now he has a real thing in his hand, like a gem of a worker, something real, and you're giving him a piece of clay because a shtar, I don't know if she really has 2 million shekels or not. Yeah. In other words, why should I accept a shtar while I have something real? If you give me money, mela, meaning it doesn't make sense to force the master so much. It's not fair, in simple words. Ela Omer Abaye, and I have an answer to a question, by the way, Shlomo. In these two cases, before and here, we see that Abaye won the argument against Rava, but he convinced Rava. They didn't stay arguing. Abaye convinces Rava. Yeah, in other words, Abaye proves himself right. Elomar Abaye, Bal Kolche de Av. Whoa. Turn the tables completely. We don't force the Odoin, I mean, not more than by mail. We force the father to redeem her once he has money. Mishum Pgam Mishpoche, which means because the family, we assume the family is what? They are not happy that the daughter, that their sister, cousin, granddaughter was sold to be an Amma. It's not very respectful. It's a Pgam Mishpocha. It's not nice for the name of the family. It's degrading for the family. That we force the father, hey, mister, who was we? Bezdin. Bezdin are always in charge. Yeah, to us it seems strange. A man sells his daughter. We think it's like those primitive people, you know, in the Far East. It's not. It's all Beis Din are in charge. They make sure nobody's abused. Everything is right. So Beis Din force the father, whether he likes it or not, and they say, we're going to check into your bank account. We know that you got 2 million shekels now. Take the 2 million shekel. We force you, Mr. Daddy, to free her out of the Amos and get her into freedom. Okay, that's what you're going to do to the father, because the rest of the family doesn't have to suffer because you want to sell your daughter. That's what we say. Okay, very nice. If so, wait. If so, Eved Ivri Nami Nichpino lebnei mishpoche mishum pgam mishpoche. By Eved Ivri, we are differentiating all the time. Never forget between men and women. So by the girl, by woman, we say, get her out of there ASAP. It's not good for the name of the family. Her older sister is in Shidduchim. What will we write in the Shidduchim resume? Prince Beila, 10 years old, Ama Ivriya. Doesn't look nice, yeah? We have Shidduchim resume, yeah? So then what? So then the same thing is also, fine, very nice. Same thing by the men. Same thing by the men. Why is it by the men you don't force who? Why don't you force the family to redeem the relatives the relative who's a male slave in order to save the honor of the family? Why don't you force them to get him out? Because otherwise it's a pagam for the family. It's degrading for the family, right? Why don't you do that too? Force them to get him out in order to preserve the family's dignity. Frek the Ritva. No, but you you have a point. You have a point. You have a point. Oh, nice. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Frek the Ritva. Boch shekivanti. Frek the Ritva. What do you mean? They don't care. What do you mean? We force them to redeem him because of their own dignity? If they have to be forced, means they don't care about the dignity. Yeah, you force me to, I don't know, wear a hamburger. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Answers a ritva. Well, family is a big thing. I don't know if you realize that. It's, I don't know if it happens in every family. Maybe in some families. Family members don't always agree with each other. I'm sorry to blow your bubble. I know this is very big news for you. I'm really, really sorry to. What? Yeah, right. You choose your friends, not family. Says a ritva, some people in the family feel we are degraded. We want our grandson, husband, whatever he is, we want Jackie out of the slavery. And the others say, no, we think it's absolutely nice and cool. We don't care about what anybody says. My daughter is not in Shidduchim, v'chule v'chule. Says the ritva, and they had a family meeting. Says the ritva, we force those who are not interested to, yes, get him out of there because of those who are interested. Meaning, halachically, the sane voice is the one who say, let's get him out. Oh, but we don't do that. The question is, why don't we do that? Why is it only by girls? We force the family, the father, to get him out. By Neved Ivri, it's true that he's an independent person, but let's force his family to get him out, to buy him out, redeem him out of the Odin. Why don't we say that? Answers the Gemara, and you were right. You're right, Yaakov. Hadar azil mas binafshe. We're not going to gain anything because he's independent. He's hadar. He's going to go back afterwards and sell himself again. Yeah, he could be the perpetuate. He could be addicted to slavery. Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah, is there such an addiction? Maybe. Maybe he's going to be addicted and sell himself time and again. And every time we'll redeem him. Haha, great fun. In other words, he won't help anything. He won't help to force the family to redeem him out. And until they save money, they make whole campaign. You know, matching campaign until they save him, and then he'll sell himself again. Mashenkin, but the girl, she can't sell herself again. No. I'm jumping the gun. Frag the Gemara, 1 second. Achinami Hadar Azul Mas bin Lo. Wait a second. Wait. But the girl, what did you say? Hey, the same problem with the girl. She can't sell herself. She's a little girl, and maybe the father will. Exactly the same thing with the adult. The father of the girl is in charge of her sale. He's also an independent adult, and maybe he too will sell her again and again. What are we saying here? The father of the girl sold her. The rest of the family is like, and we quickly, we tell him, we tell the father, buy her out. The father will buy her out because he's forced, and 2 days later, sell her again. Same thing. The father is also an independent person who can again be a perpetual seller. Yeah. So what did you gain? What's the difference between a man selling himself independently or a man selling his daughter? He can also do that again and again. So what's the difference? Why do you insist? And you do insist. The Brisa says that what? What did the Brisa say again? That a man we force to actually redeem his daughter as soon as he can. Mashenkin by an adult regular Eved Ivri, we don't force the family. Why? Both of them can repeat the same game again and again and again, replay. Answers the Gemara, and here we come to the main part of the sugya today. Did you get the chart? Haktani? No? Okay. Answers the Gemara. We have a chart. Answers the Gemara. Haktani Eina Nimkeres Venishnes. Boom, here comes big news. A man cannot sell his daughter time and again. He can only have one go on the machine. Yeah, one go in the ride. Yeah, you can only sell your daughter once. Yeah. Yoso. It's called Yoso. You only sell once. Yeah, like YOLO. Yeah, you only sell once. Who says you can only sell your daughter once? Umani, Rab Shimoni. We're going to see now a brisa that says, according to Rab Shimon, if a man sold his daughter Kitana, obviously she's below bas mitzvah, and he sold her, he can only do that once. So before we get into the next sugya, we got the answer very good, very nice. Really, we're not talking here midoraisa. We're talking midorabbanon. And what did Rabbanon say? Again, Rabbanon instituted, we don't like slavery. We don't like people to be evidivria mavria. Conceptually, it's not such a great thing, right? Elamai, if it's a man, there's no point of forcing anybody because of Gamishpacha to release him and do the whole thing and start saving money, redeeming. He'll sell himself again, and nobody can tell him no. Because a person, as we said yesterday, sequel of yesterday, a person may be sold to Avdus more than once in his lifetime. He cannot be sold twice for the same theft. But can sold or but can selling himself. He can sell himself 50 times. He likes it, like some people get married 7 times and they get divorced 9 times. Yeah, he likes it, So, what can you do? The family will suffer and tear their hair, and they will get bet shiduchim. By a girl, there is a solution because a girl, her father cannot, according to Reb Shimon, he can halachically cannot possibly sell her again. Oh, so there's a great solution. We don't want her to be an Am Ivriya. That's not nice for the name of the family or the whole situation. And therefore, we force the father ASAP. Once you get some cash, you get her out of there. And that's the end of the story. And you can't sell her again. And that's the end of her Avdus or Amus or Shifchus, whatever you want to call it. And they lived happily ever after. And that's it. Now we're going to elaborate. We're going now to see a brisa about, the whole, what I call the title of this year today, time after time. How many times can you sell? Says Reb Shimon, only once, and we're going to see other combinations. Yes, actually, this is good time. I think Ellen was first with a question. Umani Reb Shimon he. Okay, Umani Reb Shimon he. Umani Reb Shimon he. 1 second, please. Yeah, Reb Shimon he. Netanya. Now listen carefully to the 4 different combinations. Now we all know a father may do 2 things to his underage daughter. Either mekadesh her, meaning bring her to Kiddushin, like sell her for Kiddushin, so to speak, or for being an Am Ivriya. Please ignore Yiud. We're not talking about combinations. Let's just remember the 2 different tracks. Either he can marry her off, as we call it today, or he can, sell her as an Amma. Both cases is obviously underage, under 12, under Shtei Sayros. Moicher Odom Esbito Leishus V'shoine. Combination number 1. A person may moicher his daughter to be someone's wife, and there was Kiddushin. I'll stress, and I will not repeat that again, so you better know it now. If there was only stage of Kiddushin and no stage of Nisuin, right? Only Kiddushin, right? And then her husband died. The husband, I don't like to call him a husband, the Orus died, right? or he divorced her from the Kiddushin, and she was an Ashes Ish. Now she's back home. She's back home already, yeah, after being Mekudeshes. Veshoine, he may now again marry her off to another guy as long as she's under 12. She was she was Mekudeshes. I'll stop saying the English words because it just annoys me. She was Mekudeshes to Reuven, right, who died or divorced. Back home, now she found a new Shidduch. The father may again repeat the same thing, Mekadesh her to Shimon. So far, so good. As long as she's under 12, everything will be explained, I promise. Now, L'shivchus v'shoine. She was sold as an Amma Ivriya to Reuven, and after 3 years, after 6 years, obviously not Simonim. Everything happens underage, yeah? She was sold for Shifcha, and then the Yovel came. She was sold to Shifcha by the age of 4, and then by the age of 7, she was out of there because the Yovel came. Just one story. Next year, she's 8. He may sell her again to be a shifcha to another guy, to Shlomi Alovsky. Shifchus after shifchus works also. Yeah, we have a chart. Marriage after marriage, yes. Shifchus after shifchus, yes. Third combination, leishus achar shifchus. She was a shifcha, yeah, and then she finished her shifchus term. She's now a free girl coming back home, still underage. He may marry her off, right? So far, so good. So shifchus followed by marriage. All the combinations so far are tick, tick, tick. Now, aval, what's the one thing you cannot do? Avaloi l'shifchus achar ishus. The only combination you cannot do is shifchus achar ishus. In other words, once she was an isha, meaning she was mekudeshes to Reuven, not nisua. And soon I'll explain to you why not. Yeah, and mekudeshes, she was mekudeshes. And then her Reuven, the beloved Reuven, what happened to him? Between Kiddushin and Nisuin, the Nisuin never happened, never morphed. Either divorced or he died, goes back home as divorced or widowed. And then what do you want to do? Sell her for Shifcha, that's a downgrade, that you cannot do. So according to Tanakama, everything is easy. All 4 combinations, there's only one combination that doesn't work. And actually, there's a very, very easy way to remember that. And that is the only combination out of the 4 which is a downgrade, which is going down a step, is the one you cannot do. She was an isha, she was she was a lady, she was a married woman. Now you're degrading her to be what? A shifcha. That you're not allowed to do. All other combinations are okay. Can either she be upgraded from shifchus to ishus, or she can stay the same. Ishus, ishus, shifchus, shifchus. It's really easy. The chart is in your head, right? You can do everything except for downgrading from ishus with Reuven to shifchus with Shimon. That's what Chachamim say. Very, very nice. Now, we're not looking for Chachamim. We're looking for Reb Shimon. Says Reb Shimon Oimer, just like a person cannot sell his daughter to be a shifcha after she was already a mekudeshes married woman, kach, so too, says Reb Shimon, if she was once a shifcha, you're not allowed to sell her again to be a shifcha. In other words, this is not downgrading. This is both the bottom line. She was a shifcha, that's the worst situation, and she was freed. Freed 6 years, Yovel, Misa, something. Yeah, freed, many, many reasons. Yeah, and then you may not sell her again to be a shifcha. So there's 1 point, 1 bone of contention, 1 machlokas vita in the common Reb Shimon. Can you sell your daughter twice to be a shifchas? Do you have 1 go of the slot machine or 2 goes when it comes to shifcha? Can you sell it to shifcha twice? Says Tanakama. Reb Shimon says no. You can only be sell it for shifcha once. That's all. Oh, we follow. Hey, wait a second. So now we have the answer. So now we have an endorsement to what we said before. Our brisa that says that you force the other into sell is a brisa that tells you what? It tells you simply you may force the father to get her out of there because that will be the end of the sad story. Because according to Reb Shimon, he may not be able to sell her again. It's illegal. He won't be able to do it, and then she'll gain her freedom forever. There's no difference. The father may sell her again and again up to the age of 12, yeah, as long as she's underage, you may sell to shifcha again and again. Why was it so hell-bent against nisuin? Because that is mefurash in a few places in the Torah, which we'll discuss later. Once a girl was, this is something you have to know because we're going to start learning the sugyas. Once a girl was nesua meaning what? Under the chuppah, shetel on her head, or mitpachas, she's mom. I'm not joking. No, the kisui rosh is from nisuin, yeah, not before. There was chuppah, cheder yichud, In most cases, already had relations. She lives with a husband. At that point of that, and she's underage. She's, let's say, 11. So now if the husband died or divorced and she goes back home, she's not going back home. She can go back home to live there and eat the cereal with her family. But lemaise, halachically, she's completely free. And even if the father's alive, she, after nisuin, he does not regain any control over her. Nothing whatsoever. And therefore, the whole discussion here about yes, no, coming back and redoing and replaying the game, that's all very nice discussion as long as she was only Mekudeshes. Because the Mekudeshes girl who came back home is, yes, in the father's domain, and everyone agrees that Mekudeshes again can be. She was married, oops, I fell to the same trap. She was Mekudeshes to Reuven, and he died or divorced, only Mekudeshes. Went back home, you can be Mekadesh again, Lekula Alma. Right? Very good. Very nice. And everyone agrees also that if she was a Mekudeshes and she came back home, everyone agrees you're not allowed to sell her as a Shifcha. Right? Once Mekudeshes, don't downgrade her. The only Machlokas Reb Shimon and Chachamim is what? One Nekuda. And that is what happens by Shifchus Achar Shifchus. Very easy. It's really, really easy. Yeah. Now, when you'll get the chart, you'll appreciate it more. The Shifchus Achar Shifchus, yeah. Okay. Once you have a not married, you had the Shifcha who went back home, you may sell her again to Shifcha, yes or no? Chachamim say yes, and Reb Shimon says no. Slavery after slavery, says Tanakama yes, says Reb Shimon no. We follow Reb Shimon, not La Halacha. In this case, we follow him. Yes, Tzvi? Tanya. Oh. Right, this is really not complicated. I mean it. There's a pasuk in the Torah that says about an Ama Ivriya. The pasuk says the following. I'm reading it now in the chart. Yeah, it says, yeah, if the man does not want her, let's say the man is not interested in the girl, in the Ama, and it's a question whether we talk about an Ama or Ama that was married through Yiud, already married, whatever the case is. Listen to the words. Lo yimshol lemocho. He cannot control over her to sell her. The bigdoi bo. The word bigdoi bo, the pashtus of the words bigdoi bo means once he betrayed her, which means the father, once he betrayed his daughter. What do you mean he betrayed his daughter? Betrayed means that he sold her. You sold your daughter to be an amma. You're not a faithful father. You betrayed your daughter. Once you betrayed your daughter, then you cannot sell her again. This is one way of reading the pasuk. Now let's see how the Gemara deals with that. The Tanya, it says as follows: Bebigdoi bo. No, I skipped a word. Bebigdoi bo. Yes, bebigdoi bo. Yeah. Good. Yeah. No, I skipped the words. I'm sorry. Ubeplugta dani tanoi. Ubeplugta dani tanoi, which means Machlokes Reb Shimon and Tanakama, yeah, is depending on another Machlokes of other Tanoim. And by the way, people, I want to tell you now, Raul, that's not a problem. For Amiroim to repeat Machlokes Tanoim is why reinventing the wheel. Yeah, if you and I will start a whole new conversation, let's start a new. I'm Israeli, you're American, and we'll start a whole new topic which was never discussed before about putting your tea bag in Kli Shlishi in Shabbos. That would only show how Amiratzim we are, because it's a very well-known Machlokas between Ramoshe and the Israeli poskim, right? So if we start a new thing, just so that we don't know of our lives, yeah, that's silly. Yeah, Mashe'en can by Tanoim, that's absolutely fine. Moshe Feinstein or B'tzin Abba Shol or Vili Ashiv, they're all the same level. So you can have two Machloksim of two Tanoim saying the same, right? And here Machlokas of Shimon Chachamim or whatever Tanakama is the same as Machlokas of other Tanoim, but the other Tanoim express themselves more, and also Reb Shimon is trickier than the other two. Let's see. The Tanya, it says in the Brisa, the big doibo, yeah, it sounds like the father betrayed his daughter. Oh, say Tanoim, there are two ways to learn the pasuk. Shot number one, Kevin Shapiris Talisoi Oleha, Shuv En Rasha Lamoichro Diver Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says, I know the pasuk is supposed to be pronounced as big doibo, as bogdoi. I'm saying betrayal is bogdoi, big doi, but lamaisa, big doi, the way you actually pronounce it, the mikra is big doi. What's big doi in Hebrew? Can you teach me some Hebrew? Ze big doi. What? His garment. Big doi means his garment. I've been to a Sephardi chuppah. Oh, where's Peretz when we need him? Yeah, if you ever been to, not all Sephardi, many Sephardi, what didn't do under the chuppah, he covers her with his talis. A cloak. usually the bridegroom actually covers the bridegroom's head with his prayer shawl. I think it's called prayer shawl. The kids are a talis, very nice. A talis, it's not about you, it's about art scroll. The talis of the choson, he actually pores, he like spreads it over the head of the kala. That's done today. You've seen that. It's very nice. Yeah, they say shechianu over the talis. And what? Bigdoi ba means marriage. So really what the Torah is telling me here is as follows. Kevin Shapir's Talisa Oleo, once Bigdoi, meaning his garment was over her, of who? Of the chassan, of the little girl, Shuv en Rasha Lamoichro. Then the father is not allowed to sell it. Div Rabbi Akiva. What is that? That's who? That's Tanakama. Tanakama say, once she was mekudeshes, I almost said married. Once she was mekudeshes, meaning there was the garment thingy, then what? Then we say that later on, coming back to the father, because she was divorced or widow or something, then he's not allowed to what? Can't sell her. Lim shol bo. What? No. That's the Nakama. You're not. I'm sorry. That's the Nakama. The Nakama says that no, that after marriage to have slavery is usher, is usher. That's what Rabbi Kiva says. That's the Nakama. The Nakama says, I told you, downgrade. Once she was a lady, once she had a big doy, then you cannot, then lemochro. You can't sell her, lemochro, you can't sell her to be a maid servant again. After Kiddushin, that's it, you can't sell her. But all other combinations are fine and good. That's Rabbi Akiva, followed by Tanakama. Rabbi Lezer says, Bogdoibo. Rabbi Lezer says, I know that you pronounce this with a chirik, big doi, but if you read the Torah the way it's written, not the way it's pronounced, what does it say? Bogdoba means betrayed her. What's the worst betrayal? To marry her off or to sell her as a slave? To sell her as a slave. Kevin Shabogad Bo, once he betrayed her and sold her as a slave, as a Amma, Shuva and Rashalamachra again for slavery. So now Rabbi Lezer, no questions now. Says Rabbi Lezer, no. I only believe that if she was sold once, yeah, she's not allowed to be sold again. That's shot in the pasuk. You betrayed her once, don't repeat that, please. Okay, you can only do that once. Bigda, you betrayed. Don't now go and sell her again. Now, before we get to Reb Shimon, this is now a famous Shas sentence. What I'm about to say now. What's the argument between Blazer and Rabbi Akiva and Kiddushin Daf Daled and many other places in Sanhedrin Daf Daled? Blazer Sover Yesh Em LaMasoires. Blazer says when you have two different meanings, the way it's written and the way it's pronounced, says Blazer, I follow the way it is written. It's written bigdoi without a yud. Yes, says Rashi, another good example. Rashi says b'shom oy es divrei ha'olo. Yeah, b'shom oy, beginning of the in Nitzovim, yeah, in the Parshas Nitzovim, b'shom oy. Don't say shim oy, shom oy, bogdoi. So the way it's actually read, if you know how to pronounce it without the nikudos, you'd say bebogdoi. He betrayed her. Betrayed. Do it only once. Don't betray her again. Don't sell her again. Rabbi Kiva says, no, we follow, in such a case of a conundrum, we follow the way it's pronounced. And how is it pronounced? In the Parsha, when the Baal Koira reads it, in a few weeks, we're going to read Parshas Mishpotim. What will the Baal Koira read? Bigdoi with a chirik. Bigdoi means what? Cloak, a cloak, a beged, which means marriage, which means Kiddushin, yeah? And therefore, says Rabbi Akiva, once sold for Kiddushin, she cannot be downgraded to be an Amma. Oh, now Reb Shimon, though, if you follow well, Reb Shimon says there are two things you're not allowed to do. Reb Shimon basically holds you cannot sell from Kiddushin to Shifchus and not from Shifchus to Shifchus. Who's Reb Shimon's side on? Reb Shimon says, I like them all. Love you all, says Reb Shimon. He's choishesh to both Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Lezer. Reb Shimon Sava, Yesh Em Lamikra, Vela Masoires. Now the Rishonim say, not Reb Shimon is being wishy-washy. Reb Shimon does have a clear opinion really somewhere else, but Reb Shimon is choishesh. Whenever Em Lamikra and Masoires can both be followed, Reb Shimon says, I'm choishesh, I'm concerned. This is serious isurim over here, and therefore it's concerned for both. Therefore, what's the maskana? It's very easy. According to Reb Shimon, remember one thing. According to Reb Shimon, you never have a second shifchus. Easy. Whether she was a shifcha first time or mikudeshes first time, you can't sell again for shifchus. And that's exactly our sugya. There is no situation, according to Rabbi Shimon, of the father doing the shivcha second time. There is no shivcha second time, neither after shivchus nor after kiddushin. Mashenken Tanakama, which we don't follow right now in our sugya, maybe the halacha. What we're following over here is not Tanakama. Tanakama said it's very easy in Machshava also. Tanakama says do whatever you want as long as you don't downgrade her. Once she was a lady, she was a chashava. It's very easy, very hard for her to slide down in status and become. She was a master, a lady, and now you're making her into an amma. That you cannot do. Very easy, very powerful. Yes. Questions quickly and comments. Yes, Baruch is back. The return of Baruch. Yes. Weiter. Don't say this to anybody. Boy Rabba Baravua. Now we're going into what? Into the thick of Yiud. So we all know, or we think we know, the Yiud means what? If a girl was sold by the father to a master, and as my Zechron Livrocha, very, very choshev Magichir Rav Zevald explained to us, what's Shifchus all about? The father's very poor. He's selling his daughter. Why she should stay in this poor family? And everyone just gets more tense and more nervous. Let her be in some rich man's house. He can afford it. He pays the father 6 million shekels. The father starts living like a mensch, yeah. And the daughter is cleaning the floor very nicely. We make sure nobody abuses anybody. It's all under BSD. BSD does regular checkups to know everything is good, everything is nice and humane. She's doing far better than many girls in the Western world, yeah. So now this girl was sold to a rich man. The father hopes she'll never come back home because the home is poor still. The home is not the greatest place for her. So the Torah says, listen, you have a respectful way out. What's a respectable way out? Instead of her coming back home ASAP, which is one option, the other option is even nicer, maybe Yiud. She'll marry the boss, Cinderella. She'll marry the employer and become a lady. Very, very nice. Okay, so the first money given to her is what? To the father as Kiddushin. Eventually, at some happy note in future, the Adoin may tell her, Haret Mukudeshes li ba kesef shekibel avich 2-3 years ago. Mekudesh to me now, and it's not retroactive. I don't know which one here said. You said it's not retroactive. No, it's from now on. It's like a pause button. The Kiddushin, the money of slavery, can magically transform into money of Kiddushin by the decision of the Adoin and the father. And then she becomes from a slave. In one instance, she becomes a lady. She becomes now Mekudeshes. Yeah, good. Mekudeshes to the person. That's basically the basics of Yiud. I'm getting nervous with the question. No, there's no additional transaction. There is no, it's exactly. We are reforming the same money. Thank you for pointing that out. Comes Rabbi Baravua with the question. We're starting today's Amud. Yiud, nisuin oise or erusin oise. Ay. When we say Hareat Mekudeshes li, with what? With that money that was given once before, do we say that this money is the Yiud makes her? I'm changing the form of the Gemara with your permission. Is it erusin, meaning kiddushin and not yet nisuin? Right? It's a first stage with money, or maybe it's already nisuin. Maybe by her she's been already through a certain stage of amus. Yeah, maybe that's it. That's the final stage. Look, we had the same question with Bia, if you remember. There's nothing further than that. We now decided that we are married completely. We are this Yiud verbal change of reforming everything is already making it nisuin. Yeah, it's already all the way through. Lemay nafkamina. Who cares whether it's kiddushin or nisuin? Many nafkaminas. Nafkamina leyoyosho. In other words, let's say she has money. Imagine she got some Yerusha and she died. She herself has money. The Amevriya may have money. It's not like Shivcha Knainis. She has some money somehow. That could be. We don't say Mashkon Evet Kon Rabbi only by Knaini. Evidivri, she can have her own money. Maybe she has 300 shekels she saved on the side, and everyone's good with that. She has 1,000 shekels. Who yarshens the money? Who inherits her money? If she's only Mekudeshes, the father yarshens her. If she's Nesua, then the husband yarshens her. Because by Yerusha it says She'eroi. A husband is Yerush She'eroi. She'er means flesh. Somebody that was flesh with. In other words, he was Mamish Nisuin. Velitomelo, let's say the husband is a Kohen. Her new husband / master is a Kohen. Is he allowed to be nitma to his wife? Well, what do you call a wife? If she's Mekudeshes, no. If she's Nesua, yes. Yeah, it says Babais, the one with him in the house. The Babais is another posuk, but it's only the Nesua. Oh, if she's Mekudeshes, who's made for the Nedor? Who breaks the vows of a Mekudeshes Mureses? 2 people, father and husband. If it's only if she's Nesua, That's it. Mefurash b'nireh base ovia. Once she's not base ovia, once she lives with the husband, mamish, then what? Then the dorim are only annulled by the husband. So now we have all the nafkaminas. My. So the question is, what are we saying here? Is she mekudeshes b'yud or is she nisua b'yud? And remember, before we continue, I remind you what you already know. This is extremely important to remember, and just no questions about it for now. We see in various places in the Torah, Rashi brings down, I don't have time now, Rashi brings down clearly, once a girl underage was Nisua, Upa, Nisua, and then the Nisuin terminated, and she's still not 12, she is an 11 years old Almona or Grusha, free bird. She's not belonging to the father, and that's not questionable, and that's not an issue, right? Just for now, accept it. Rashi brings down psukim, and with that, we'll continue. We still have a question about Yiud. Once miyuedes, is it Kiddushin or is it Nesuin? That's a question. Toshma, come and listen to what we just said now. The big doibo, right? Kevin Shapir's Talisa Oleo, as we said, B'Shem Rabbi Akiva, once married, meaning, yeah, or once we assume what? Here's Talisa Oleo, once, whatever marriage means. Let's say Mikudeshes. Shuv en rasha lemoichro is not allowed to sell her. Okay, very nice. Mekudeshes cannot be downgraded to a shifcha, right? That's Tanakama with Rabbi Akiva. She was a lady, now she's back home. Don't downgrade her now to be an ama shifcha. Okay. Zog the Gemara, wait a second. Let's break that down. Zbuni adolo masbin lo, hayudi meyad lo, right? What are we telling here? You're not allowed to sell her a second time, but you're allowed to now be miyad her, right? You are allowed to be miyad her. You're allowed to now second time you can be miyad. You can marry her off to another guy. Okay, very nice. As we said, marriage after marriage is fine. Okay, wait a second. Diomart nisuin oiso. If you're telling me that big doibo, the Gemara now assumes that big doibo. What's the context of the term big doibo and ama ivriya? Now you're telling me the big doibo is what? The marriage of what? Of Yiud. We assume now big doibo is Yiud, which is the context of the Torah. Hey, if you're telling me now that Yiud, meaning the first thing is Yiud, and Yiud equals Nisuin, something doesn't work right. Because you're telling me that after Yiud, you're not allowed to downgrade her, but you're allowed to maintain and again Mekadesher, marry off to another guy. Iyumat Nisuin, so if Yiud equals Nisuin, then the formula doesn't work right. Kevin Denis says Shuven Lavir Shusba. Again, it's very, very simple. Right, let's repeat. We understand that the posuk big doibo, that whole posuk which Baruch made me read time and again, and I appreciate that. So that posuk talks about Yiud. Now, if you're telling me Yiud means what? Nisuin, and we know that Nisuin is out of the game, she's out of the board game completely. How can you tell me the Kitzel, Lefita Nakama, Rabbi Akiva team? What do they say? The Kodeshes once once it was Yiud. No, you tell me after Yiud you may marry off again. Then must be Yiud is Kiddushin, because if Yiud was Nisuin, you can't do anything again. So that proves Yiud is only Kiddushin. Because if Yiud is Nisuin, that shouldn't be in our chart. If Yiud is Nisuin, you can't do anything after that. So what's this whole discussion? Must be that what? That Yiud is definitely only Kiddushin, and then we can discuss. It's only Kiddushin. Yiud Nisuin, it's out of the game. Must be there for the Yiud is Kiddushin. Answers the Gemara. Sorry, no. We continue to prove. Now we have the punchline of the proof. Elalav must be Shmamina. From here we can see Erusin Oisa. Oh, here's your glaring proof that Yiud is just Erusin, which is also the Halacha. No, you may be right, but it's not proven. Your proof is wrong. Really, the Pasuk Kevan Shapiris Talisa Oleo doesn't talk about a regular Ama Ivriya. Although the context does talk about Ama Ivriya, that's true, but these words particularly may be talking about Kiddushin in general, not about Yiud. He just, no, Ama, my daughter and Ama Khalila. We're not talking about that guy. We're talking about a guy who was Mekadesh her off to Reuven, and then Reuven died after Kiddushin and before Nisuin, and then we say you can then Mekadesh her again to Shimon. L'choyer, it sounds like the Pasuk is talking in context of Amos. How do you explain it? This is what the Pasuk means. Kevin Shemesara Avia, once the father gave her over to regular men, not a master of slaves, which means I really should have read a few psukim more, but Lamaisa, yeah, I'm learning for next time. Basically, if you remember, those psukim at the beginning of Parshas Mishpatim, what do they say? Imacher sikachloi. He talks about two stages in a girl's life. She was sold as an amma, and then we say if the Odin took another woman on top of her, he took the first wife was who the amma Ivriya. She was 11, and he liked her and he married her. Now he's marrying a second wife at 20 years old, who may be nicer and better. And it says, if he takes another wife, he's not allowed to take away, to degrade from her three basic obligations as a wife, which is she'er ksus ve'oino, she'er, to buy her clothes, to buy her food, ksus, and that is money, and oino, intimacy, clothes, food, and intimacy. That's what a woman needs. Yeah, and says the Torah, we're not talking now about the first guy. We're not talking about her. Stam is being married. Yeah? Now leave Amos out of the story. We're learning the halachas of marriage here. That any man has to give sharksus v'oina to his wife, regardless of being an amma. So this pasuk particularly is out of context of Amos, and he's telling you Stam. Once the father gave her to any man, not a master, no slavery whatsoever, he gave her to a man, i.e., anybody that's chav sharksus v'oina, meaning a husband, in other words, then he cannot sell her again, which means, let's again summarize. Leave Yiud out of the story. That pasuk that does tell me that post Kiddushin, you may be Mekadesh again, and then, by the way, everyone agrees to that, if you notice. Everyone agrees to that. Reb Lezer, Chachomim, Reb Shimon, everyone agrees that after Kiddushin, she went back home at the age of 10, let's say, she could be Mekadesh again. That's only Kiddushin. Yiud, that was not the story. Yiud may be Nisuin, but that pasuk doesn't talk about Yiud. So back to square one. We lost the proof. We don't know if Yiud, as of itself, is Kiddushin or Nisuin. Yeah, we know everything. We know about Kiddushin. You can't be Mekadesh again. After Nisuin, surely you can't touch her anymore. That's it. She's not your daughter for anything. I mean, she has been Mechabed you, but you don't own her B'chlal. Yiud is still a question. We still don't know if Yiud is like Kiddushin or is Yiud like Nisuin. Toshma. So now we're looking for another Brisa, another proof. It says, which also appears in Perek Sheni, and moichro lekroivim. Question: can a man sell his daughter to his son? I'm not making fun. The man is poor, and his son, at the age of 25, became a billionaire. Now the son, 25, the father knocks on the door, says, Shloimele, can you help? And he can buy. Can you buy? He's a married man. Shloimele is 25. He's a married man, lives in 5 towns. Yeah, and he's asking the son, can you buy your sister as an amma? She'll clean the floor and she'll wash the dishes and she'll change the diapers much better than the Hispanic, than Maria, the Mexican. You say no. Okay, to some people it's so clear. Says Tanakama, en moichro lekroivim. You're not allowed to sell it to relatives. Why not? Because he's not able to be miyad. In other words, according to Tanakama, Yiud, not everyone has to be miyad, but potential Yiud has to be there. Last time I checked, I'm not sure. I think a brother is not allowed to marry a sister, right? I think so. Yeah. Okay. So then, brother and sister cannot get married. So because this Amos cannot morph into Yiud, therefore such selling already is nipped in the bud. You can't have such Amos that cannot halachically become Yiud, right? Every mechir has to be Yiudable. This mechir is not Yiudable because he is not allowed to marry her, so you can't sell him bichlal. Says Tanakama. I'm sorry, but Rabbi Lezer says it's absolutely fine. Rabbi Lezer said Yiud is an option, but doesn't have to be part of the clause, a clause in the contract. No, Yiud, if it happens, gesundheit. If not, not. We don't have to have every mechira davka, with the option of Yiud. Okay, that's the machloikas. We're going to see that later. Now, Vishovin, what's Vishovin? When Mishnah says Vishovin, means what? They both agree. That's always appears many times in Beitza, also here. Vishovin, both parties agree. Shemoichro almon l'kohen gadol, grusha v'chalutz l'kohen hediot. This is very interesting. Let's say the girl underage is an almona, and you want to sell her to be the maid servant in no less than the kohen gadol's house. Whoa! So you're allowed to sell her as an almona to a kohen gadol. Let's say the girl under 12 is already grusha or chalutza, divorced or chalutza. Very nice. Yeah, you're allowed to sell her to a kohen hediot. Wait a second. Why? Because even though Tanakama believes that every Amos has to potentially evolve into marriage, and a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to marry Almana, and a Kohen cannot marry Grusha, right? Nevertheless, the Mechira is a good Mechira. Why? Because although it's an Issa Doraisa for a Kohen to marry a Grusha, if they did get married, the marriage does apply. It's not a good marriage, it's a valid marriage. Yeah, it's a valid marriage, right? Why? Because it's Isser Doraisa. Isurei Torah, if they marry, b'diavad, and they're over a very second, it's a very bad thing. But if they did, the marriage does catch. As opposed to if a brother marries his sister with a nice ceremony, and maybe that's a very avant-garde thing, but the brother and sister marrying won't catch. It's not marriage. It's like nothing happened, yeah? Because it's an Isser Kolis. That's why it doesn't happen. So now basically what are we saying? Although not recommended, but because potentially if the Kohen master would marry her, which is really bad, but if he would marry her, the marriage would catch, right? The Yiud would apply. Very, very bad, but it would apply. Therefore, everyone agrees that the sale is a sale. What will happen later? Cross the bridge when we get there. We won't allow it to happen. But the etzem, the marriage is, the mechira is okay. You're allowed to sell her as an almana to Kohen Gadol, Grusha to Kohen Idiot. Okay. Now, wait a second. Says the Gemara now, hold it. Did I hear the words almana? Can you do the math? 2 and 2 equals? Almana, okay, she's an almana. She's underage. Otherwise, the father can't do anything to her, right? She's an almana, and she's being sold to be. She was married, and shifchus achar. Oh, so it's kind of weird, right? So what's going on over here? No, he's selling her. No, only he can sell her. No such thing. Sorry. No. Frag the Gemara. Actually, the Gemara is going to talk against what you're saying. Hi, Almana Hechidami. What's this Almana doing in the story? And after being an Almana, she's sold again. Excuse me. Hi, Almana Hechidami. If you want to tell me that she was Mekadesh herself, yeah. And because what? An Almana underage, let's say what? Let's say the Almana was even from Nisuin, Mekadesh herself, there's no such thing. Yeah. Ilema the Kaddish Nafsha. Almana Karila. In other words, let's say the first marriage, she decided she's miskadeshes. She didn't ask the father. She sort of married, the guy married her without telling the father, Bichlal, right? And then he died. She's not called an almana because married the husband, her husband, why? Because almana Karila, it's a joke. Because a girl underage who decides for herself, she's marrying, just nothing happened. Because a girl under 12 has no rights to marry herself, to marry anybody. It just doesn't work. Yeah, ve'ela the kidsha avia. Oh, must be that the first marriage was run by the father, right? The father married her to the first guy, not to the Kohen. The Kohen is second. The guy, the father married her to the first guy, to Reuven, let's say the non-Kohen, the regular guy. And then what? And then he died. Okay. And then after he died, now you're saying, no problem, sell her now to whoever you want, even Kohen Gadol. Mimatzi mazbin lo, can the father sell her? The ein odomerches bito l'shifchus achar ishu, says Tzvi Rosen said so nicely. A man cannot sell his daughter to shifchus after ishu. Everyone agrees to that. He cannot downgrade her even after Kiddushin. Forget about chuppah, not chuppah. Even Kiddushin, even after Kiddushin, she was mukudeshes. There's no sliding down into being a shifcha. So where do you have an almana underage sold by her father? Yeah, now being sold by a father to either Kohen Gadol or to a street cleaner or to a crystal vase seller. How could that be? Big question. Comes the Gemara now with big news. Comes the Gemara now with a very, very interesting concept. Took me a long time to explain it to people, but it's really easy. You know what we're talking about? I'll tell you what we're talking about. There is one unique case in which a girl does get mikudeshes underage, and it works halachically. It's a very good introduction. You guys are getting my second run. It's good. I already had to say this like many times before. So now you're getting the good Be'ezras Hashem. We are now looking for a very unique formula. Very unique. We're looking for what? A girl underage. We all follow halacha. It's a halachic kiddushin, right? The first kiddushin here. The father is still alive. She's not a Yesoima. And it's not, and it works. It's valid. And the father it's not considered that the father was Mekadesh. How could that be? How could it be in halacha? We said a girl herself can't just do whatever she wants. Who's Mekadesh her? Malach Raphael. Says the Gemara, no, it's complicated. No questions for now, my friends. Says the Gemara, Omar Bitzchak, Yiud. We're talking here that the first Kiddushin were Kiddushin through Yiud, the Aliba the Rabbi Yehuda, following the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, the Omar Moiser Shonas Lav Kiddushin Itnu, period. Yeah, I was taught that Americans only say period, right? Not full stop. So now, says the Gemara as follows. What did I tell you all your life? We always said that Yiud is what? You guys are brainwashed. You think the Yiud means what? Yiud means the father gave money to the Odin gave money to the father as for to buy an Amma, and they both know that potentially one sunny day, if the Odin will feel like for himself or his son, he would say Haret Mukudeshesli, and that same money, that same one pruta, one little ring or whatever, given 2 years ago, will magically be reformatted into Kiddushin, and then will become Kiddushin. That's right, according to Tanakama. Absolutely right. Says Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, a whole different story. Says Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, there's a whole different. Listen to this. Says Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda like that. The girl got the father got the money from the Odon, let's say 5, and I'm saying this on purpose, 5.5 years ago, or 5 3/4 years ago. Let's say she works for 6 years, yeah. Towards the end of the 6th year, says the Odon to the father, says, your daughter is Mekudesh to me, not with the money that you gave me. You know what she's Mekudesh with? She still owes me, let's say, half a year of work. Or the Gemara says even more dramatically extreme. Let's say it's half a day, 1 hour. Let's say half a day before she's supposed to go free. That half day, she still owes him. He prepaid. What's Ebedi V'Amavriya? I would call it in English prepayment plan. He prepaid 6 million shekel, right? Million shekel a year. My math is not so good, but if it's a million shekel a year, I would assume, let's say, 1 day is Shava Pruta. Half a day is Shava Pruta. You owe me now another half a day. Hey, get out of your chair. Half a day, you're supposed to now clean the dishes, clean the floor, wash the floor, right? I don't know, change the baby. And that is Shava Pruta. That is worth money. With that, I'm Mekadesh you. Yiud means is Mekadesh her, not with the money given by the father. The father is partially, listen carefully, out of the picture. Her physical work, she's supposed to now change the nappies, bring the kid from the kindergarten, wash the floor. Those things are things she owes the Odon from her body. And he says, you know what? Sit there like a queen, my dear. And Haret Mukudeshesli, with the work you owe me, yeah, with that work in Kudeshes to me. Ah, that's cool. Because now the father is kind of out of the picture. So, but it's all halachically legal. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, you have a, yes, you do. You have a case in which the girl is miskadeshes herself without the father being in the picture, because we're not mikadesh her with the money gave, 5.5 years ago. That's a different story. We mikadesh her with the washing the dishes. She's supposed to be now. Sit there like a queen for, for half a day instead of working. Why? That half-day work is what you miskadesh with. Very good. So mainly we have the case of Alman al-Khan Gadol. So let's repeat the whole story. We do have the case here of a girl, according to Rabbi Yehuda, was miskadesh herself because of the work she was, supposed to be doing, was now mekudeshes, right? Now that husband died before Nisuin. He dropped dead before the end of the day, before the Nisuin, right? Okay. Must be Yiud is what is Kiddushin. Now, he died. She goes back home, and the father is allowed to sell her because he's not the one who actually married off the first time. The whole chart you're going to get today and the whole business of repetition is the father. How many times does the father have on the ride? Only once. But the girl, no. Since the first marriage was a halachic marriage to the girl by the girl herself, for the father it's the first time. But the father, Mimeli, is allowed now to sell her to become a shifcha, because the first time, he sold her for shifchut, but shifchut after shifchut, we pass is okay, not like Reb Shimon. So very good. There was no issue of kiddushin. She was a big lady. She was a mekudeshi. It was her. It wasn't me, says the father. So the father is allowed to have another go now because she was a mekudeshi herself. That's my first time in the issue, and therefore I will be able to be mekadesh again, and I can mekadesh her to Kohen Gadol, even though she's almono. Well, let me just get to the proof and make me. I know it's past time. Diomart nisuin oisa. However, if you say Yiud is nisuin, kevan shenisa shuven laver shusba. I already told you. Now we're getting to the proof. must be Yiud is what? Is Kiddushin. Because if Yiud was Nisuin, we worked so nicely to explain that trick, but no, it's not going to work. If Yiud was Nisuin, and once the Odom tell her, darling, sit there nicely on the chair for half a day like a queen, and that half day you're supposed to scrub the floor like Mr. says, that half day I Mekadesh you. If those Kiddushin are really, I Meyayid you. If this Yud is called Chuppah, is called Nisuin, then what did you gain? Then if she went back home after Chuppah, of course the father can't do anything. Must be Yiud, which works so hard to explain, must be it's Kiddushin. Because it's only Kiddushin, not through her, but through the father. Not through the father, but through her Kiddushin. Mimele afterwards, he can do whatever he wants. And not end, but so far that's a strong attempt to prove the Yud must be Kiddushin and not Nisuin. Ay, 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 what a week we had. What a Shabbos we're going to have now after all these sugyas clear in our mind. And we're going to email the chart today to everybody around. And I wish everyone Hatzloch here in Abbas Shalom and our YouTube channel viewers and the Torah Time people. And may Mashiach come soon and all the Torahs end very quickly. Hatzloch, Bracha, good Shabbos.